figured I'd make a painting a day. And so this is the first one that I made. And if you take a look at it, you'll see there's black, and then there's the colors. And the colors have a different shape to them. And probably need to go on a different layer if you were going to do this via digital with the machine to cut it out. And so what I did was I separated it into black and color so that I could do one layer for black, very simple, and then one layer for color, and then it's done. And it takes 2 seconds. So after much fighting with the machine, I finally got it to print these pieces out. And so I have the black layer right here, which I weeded out. So when you get it off the vinyl cutter, you have to take the shapes off of it. And so there's the shapes after I took it off with a razor, which is called weeding. So I took the shapes off of the black one, and now I have to take the shapes off of the color one, which you can barely see the lines in the light. But yeah, I'm gonna take those off, and then I'm gonna put each layer on via transfer tape and then paint it like I've showed you before. You put on the matte gel first, and then you let it dry, and then you put the color on with the paint. So we're gonna give it a go. Show a little bit of the weeding, and I don't know if you'll be able to see what I'm doing. I really do hope so. So you're just gonna take each piece up with a razor. Usually that doesn't look like it was through World War III. And you take the tape up where the line is. It helps when you have colored vinyl, because then you can really see the shape. I was stupid and bought the clear, but I was hoping it would be more pliable than the one colored one that I got with the printer. There are different types of transfer tape. This is just a more simple tape. I had another one that was like clear and heavier, and each one has like a different kind of way about it, and it's really good if you find the one that you like, so that you get used to playing games with it. If it is that you're into this type of thing and you're going to be doing stuff with a vinyl cutter, you might as well get a good transfer tape. So I have this one. It's probably an Oracal. So then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your shapes, like whichever one you want, and put it upside down on it, and then we're going to make sure that it goes on as flatly as possible. Of course, there's a little toy for it. Here it is. Let's move this backwards a little bit so you can see this. And then go like that. Try to get as many bubbles out as you can. And there's that. And then you cut it off of this. And then we're going to do the other one while we're here, since why do it twice. It helps if you're doing really specific designs, like very, very meticulous designs. It always helps to have someone help you with this type of thing. If you happen to have a studio partner, that's awesome. I never seem to. Must be my friendly demeanor. But anyway, so here's this. We're doing it, the second one. This is going to be the color side that's going to be transfer taped on. And that's it. And then you just save that and put it on the floor. So this is it flipped over, as you can see, and there's quite a few bubbles, but that's all right. We will make do. And so you basically are supposed to take all the bubbles out before you transfer it on, because curves and everything, just, you see all this little bubble right there, trying to go through. Push all the bubbles out. Try to make it as flat as possible. And then you just take the back off and you apply it where you want it on your painting. Just make sure that it's sticking to here. So it is sticking correctly. You have to be gentle when you take it off sometimes. This goes on top of this. So what I've come to find, this is easier to do because it's very difficult to see to the other side when you're applying this. So what I like to do is just throw down some lines on there with like a dot, like, you know, so that you can align it yourself. So here's one side of this one. And so the dots help align where it goes on the canvas because you really can't see through the transfer tape so well. And if I used colored vinyl, this would be 1,000 times easier, but I didn't. I like to make my life hard. Anyway, so I'm putting the dots on, and this will be the way to really figure out where everything is, to center it before you really apply it to the canvas for it to be glued down. And so now, I don't know if you can see it, but I can see it. There's dots all over this. And the dots are telling me based on where it is on the canvas where it should go. And so it's just about good on both sides. And then what I do is gotta put it on real gently and sweetly. All right. It also has to have enough room for all the rest of the stuff that you're going to put on top of it. So. And this is the most fun part, is when the vinyl doesn't stick to the canvas and starts coming up on you. And that's okay for a minute. But the idea is try to get it as attached to it as possible. So now that I've kind of figured out where I want this, you do this really gently. As you can see, it's really fun to take the tape from the tape and the vinyl from the tape and just peel slowly and hope that it's stuck on correctly. Look, see, it likes to play games. Like, I'm gonna play games. Okay, great. So then you pull gently, totally from the other side of it, just real like that. And this helps just to do it slow. There you go. There's your shapes on the canvas. Ugh. There you go. And now you have it. It's on there. And you'll see little bubbles and you'll see stuff like that. And that's okay. Because if you see a bubble, you can throw a razor mark into it and flatten it out. Because you got to flatten all the bubbles out before you throw the stuff on. The matte gel. And it happens a lot. And this is the fun of playing with vinyl and circles. And you'll see this bubble right here. I hope you can see that. And I have to cut a line through it, probably from side to side, and then let it kind of fall into place. And so we'll do that. It doesn't really matter where. The idea is just so that the tape stops buckling. There we go. You see the tape is falling. There we go. It is no longer buckling. I'll take a close video of what this looks like after all said and done. You can see the shapes. There's the dots that I put on there to try to even this out. It's not perfect, but nothing's perfect, kids. So as you can see, we have our matte gel, and this is what we're going to put on the tape. And so now that I've got my bubbles out of here for the most part, at least the big ones, always get your big ones out of there. The little ones you could kind of say forget it too. Also, as you see this line underneath of this tape right here, anytime you're going to put color right here, you're probably going to get paint right here. That's called Murphy's Law. You're trying to get the paint here, but it goes there. So the idea is to put an extra piece of green tape at the bottom and any side where the canvas is sticking out, the top especially, look at that. And so if you do that, then it would have to be a grand miracle for paint to get there. And so I'm gonna just do this around the whole canvas of all the shapes so that it's nice and clean. I'm gonna do. So now, as you can see, I have all the the gel on the painting, and there's a piece of green on the bottom and a piece of green on the top. And we're gonna let this dry. I'm gonna throw some black on, and we're getting layer 2 on today. Yes, and then we're gonna do the second layer. The second layer is going down on top of it. So we're gonna do the same thing we did with the original. So we're gonna throw on some dots so you can see where everything aligns up. Let me get that. This also could use to be fixed a little bit. So since you can't paint color over black, I decided to put 2 layers of white on these shapes right here. And then on the bottom, there's going to be 3 colors. So we're going to start with 1 color. And the color I'm going to start with is probably going to be the light green. And then we're going to stripe off the red and the darker green. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm matching the green to that green. So it's pretty darn close. So I put it right here. I'm just going to do 1 layer of it to start. Up here and then on the bottom as well, and let it dry. Make sure that it has covered everything, and so the idea is to pick up the canvas and make sure. There's probably going to be a few mess ups. It's okay. Because we can clean those up later. Not a big deal. Not that wet, this one. And we're just going to put it next to it. And we're going to start putting just a little bit of white in. And now it will be opaque. Now I don't have to play this game. So we're going to start with the darkest one first as that dries or doesn't dry. Just a little more white so that we're not seeing through it. I don't really want to see through my paint. Paint usually has a little bit of translucence to it, but not quite as much as what's going on here. So that's still pretty good and still within range of that. Just try this again. There we go. Oh my god. LOL. Just kind of go like that with it. There we go. Just covering this one. There we go. And then we're just going to keep adding white to it. Stupid hair. Good. All right. So that's a lot later than I'd like it to be. So that's going to be worked for a different one down the line based on what the colors are looking like. That would be almost like the 4th. So I'm going to have to mix this one and this one together a little bit more. Just definitely make sure you have enough of the right colors. There we go. And you don't even need that much. I mean, there's just like a few dots on this. That's a good one. Make sure you got enough paint for each color that you're doing. This is a little bit lighter, so that'll be number 2 on both of them. And I'm sure I'll be playing with this off camera to drive myself insane. Needs to dry before we put another layer on. Use a different different brush. The nice thing about these is that you could really go with small brushes. Okay. This will be like the third. And they're so close together. It's difficult. But if you can see it, it's okay. The idea is that you see it. And that would be another one. And you see it's gradating. As we go down the line, we'll make another lighter one. Another lighter one. So that'll be like the fourth. And you can go back and completely change the colors if you don't like them. And then we're gonna do one more light one, and then it's gonna stick with white right there. Because I'm gonna have to redo all these colors onto the canvas because they're just a little too translucent for my taste. We're gonna do one more of the light pink right here. And that's like light pink before we're hitting into the white. There. So now I've taped this green off, and I'm gonna do that first. And we're gonna put the matte gel on and get it under that line so that the green is completely separate from the red. I didn't do the red yet. I'll do the red last. On top too. If you're going to do paintings like this, just understand that you're going to be doing layer after layer and then waiting for it to dry. You can also use a hair dryer to make it go faster. This works perfectly fine. And then it'll dry this gel layer that you're working on so that the line is going to be as straight as possible without getting underneath of the tape. And then you're just going to put layer, let it dry, come back, do another layer. And you have to get used to doing that if this is what you want to do. It's a different type of way to paint, but I do like a perfect line. All right, so I just did the last bit of red on the painting. I'm going to take this off first. I'll take this one off. Trying not to take everything off at the same time because it's not working. This is still wet, and sometimes it's a good idea because if there's too many layers, it makes it difficult for the tape to come up correctly and cleanly. So that's the idea, is to kind of be gentle with it as we're peeling it up. So far so good. This is looking great. There's a few mess ups. It's all right. Yeah. It's never going to be exactly perfect. Some stuff come under the tape in many places, and that happens, and you have to get used to it. So there's, look at that. So there's definitely some touch-ups, you could see it, but I mean, all in all, not bad. I mean, this could be cleaned up. You could bring the black down. Just put 2 lines here and here and bring the black down. This can be cleaned up with a little black. Same with this. The black can be brought up a little bit right here. This edge needs to be repainted. And right here. And that's it.